Hey guys, welcome to Podcast Fandom Premium. I'm your host Nina.
I'm Donald.
And I'm Kaylee.
And we are back to discuss Extraordinary Attorney Woo. We're going to be talking about episodes 7 and 8, The Tale of So Tok Tong, Part 1 and Part 2. So Tok Tong. Tong is like neighborhood.
Yeah.
So then is the proper name. And it's all about a neighborhood, a city that's going to be destroyed, basically. Essentially, I was going to say split in half, but essentially destroyed because of a proposed incoming highway being built. So, lots of stuff happened in this two-parter. This is our first two-parter, right? Because I know we have another one coming up. What did you guys think? Who wants to go first?
I'll go first. When the episode started and we were getting like the basic plotline, I was like, this seems boring. But I don't know. I feel like most attorney cases are kind of boring if it's not like a
murder.
Crime. Yeah.
A crime.
This isn't a crime. Taking people's homes out of crime.
That was a barking thing.
Yeah.
But I was just like, okay, this is a small town, but I like the subplot where it was like
Her mom.
Yeah, what it was really trying to focus on, basically.
I thought the stuff with the town was charming, though.
It was. In a goofy way.
Yeah. What about you, Donnie?
Yeah, I mean, I liked it. I'm still liking this show a lot. There's just both, like I see what Kate was saying, there's two different things going on. One with the court case and one the outside with her mother and her father finding out about her family and stuff like that. And even the advancements, I think, with the other guy.
Junho?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
It's almost like two different things going on where that stuff seems to be more interesting than the cases.
Mm-hmm.
But the cases are just like any court TV show are going to be.
Yeah.
Like this is like, even though like this show's Korean based and all this stuff, this type of thing happens everywhere. Like people lose towns all the time because roads go through them, and the government just screws them.
So I'd forgotten that so much happens in terms of the stuff with her mom in these two episodes. Like, it went from like, oh wait, do we ever even think about her mom, to, oh wait, are they hinting that the CEO might be her mom, to, oh wait, what about this other lady? Okay, that's definitely her mom, too. Holy shit, it's her mom and now everybody knows. You know?
They confronted each other already.
Yeah, it was just like a lot. And so we did a lot of pausing when we watched these two episodes the other day because like we were discussing a lot of stuff. You're such a good boy. Yeah, I know. Sorry, there's a dog outside losing its mind and our dog didn't react, so I'm super proud right now. Anyway, and he's doing so good, and he's going to continue to do good, right? And Mama's going to talk over that dog. Anyway, what was I saying? Now I'm all distracted, and I'm worried. Yeah, I'd forgotten, and we did a lot of pausing because I was, like, curious to get you guys' thoughts. And there was a lot going on, a lot of serious stuff, so we kept pausing to discuss it.
You kept asking us, do you think she knows that that's her daughter?
Right, because the reason I asked that is because Donnie had said, like, I want to say not even these two episodes, but there was, like, the end of the other episode. And you said something that I thought was interesting because it felt like it was the opposite of what I thought when I watched it. And so it was just interesting to me that we could see it so differently. So I was curious to see what you were thinking as you were watching it. Like, did it play like, you know, she knew that it was
the teaser credits or teaser scenes where they were having that woman visit her father at the restaurant while she wasn't there. For some reason, I just kept thinking I couldn't remember the details of it, so I kept thinking that was the mother.
Yeah.
Like, talking to him, like, knowing that her daughter's out there. And
so you're like the second person or third person to think that I've seen, like, watch this and think that like get confused about, especially because they did that thing where they showed us then that visit actually happened months before we thought it did.
Right.
Yeah. So yeah, so I was just curious, like, how you guys were taking it. Like, did it seem like to you, the mother, this was something that she knew, like, the whole time and all that stuff? So it was interesting.
I was saying, my guess was that she didn't know, because I feel like she wouldn't want anything to do with her. She did. She
And
would
then-
be trying to get her to join her company.
Right. So, the case. Let's talk about the case real quick. Again, Sotok is the name of the town that this incoming highway is going to basically destroy. They talk very early on that putting up a wall isn't going to work because at first they was like, having this highway go through the town is going to cause a lot of traffic and noise and pollutants and stuff. So they proposed a wall, but then he was like, but then it's just like separating our town, our community, with these, like a retaining wall, right? And then they had already paid people for their land. You know, some of the people had already sold. And so the people who remain, they're like, we don't think, and those people didn't even get a fair price for their homes. Did you catch that? That he said
like something like 20,000 won.
They didn't, they didn't, basically, it would have been less than 10,000 American dollars they got for their homes. So, and they were like, that's not enough to even put down as a deposit for a rental in Seoul. So in Korea, they have this system called a key deposit. And so a lot of times when you see these videos of people doing their apartment tours and they have nice apartments in Seoul and they're like, I only pay $400 in rent. It's because they put down what they call a key deposit, and it's a large amount. So they'll put down as a deposit anywhere from $10,000 to $40,000 for these beautiful apartments in Seoul, and their rent is like $400 or $500 a month. But the thing is, you know, here when we do a deposit, you may not get it back if you've had damages to the property or whatever. But in Korea, you get it back. You get your full deposit back. So if you have a few, you know, tens, thousands of dollars, you could essentially, you know, move around and whatever and pay relatively cheap rent. But anyway, so they were pointing out that, you know, people who sold their homes didn't even get enough money for a key deposit to rent a nice place in Seoul. So they investigate whether or not it's even worth taking the case, and they're leaning towards not until the town's it turns out he actually like owns the land, a lot of the land in the city, and particularly in this area. He tells them to come visit to see for themselves. He thinks that the police
forces them.
Yeah.
To the cars.
Yes. So road trip, and it's here that Woo, thinking about what Kwon had said about how Juhan and Suyoung make a nice couple. She's like, should we switch seats? Because I think the good looking people should sit next to each other. So everyone in this town is charming. And you get that, like, everyone has a nickname. Mm-hmm. And the nickname is after a famous Korean person. Like the soccer player and such. And then they end up going to kind of like a landmark in this town. It's a giant hackberry tree. I don't know much about trees. I
was just wanting to know what the hackberry is.
Or hackberry tree. I don't know if that's a native. I'll look it up. But I'm going to look it up. On the way up to the tree, Woo loses her footing, and Junho helps her up and gives her his jacket. The hackberry, while often forgotten by casual consumers, is commonly heralded as casual commoners. is commonly heralded by tree experts as one tough tree. Found on a wide range of soils east of the Rockies from southern Canada to Florida, these trees thrive in a broad span of temperatures on sites that vary from 14 to 16 inches of annual rain.
What's a hackberry, though?
I guess it doesn't bloom anything. It's just a leaf.
Yeah, I don't see any.
And it doesn't have
just-
berries?
No.
It's just the name of it.
I don't see any. Yeah, I don't see any. Let's see, what's a hackberry then?
I thought that's what you were originally researching.
I know, I looked up the tree, but, okay, so I just got the same stuff. Wait. Okay. So, here we go. Hackberries have a thin, very sweet purple skin surrounding a crunchy shell with a tiny nut inside. All hackberries are edible and highly nutritious. They have been consumed by humans for millennia and are one of the first known foods that humans have eaten and stored.
Can I see a picture?
Wow, this looks like the one in the show.
I want to see a hackberry, not the tree. Oh, that's okay. So they look like what I thought they would look like.
They're
Being dark colored.
yeah, and they're very really, I thought they looked bigger than they're kind of like grape size to me, but that could just be the photo.
Oh, well, yeah.
Anyway, everybody is like, this is very boring.
Right. It's like the fruit we learned about yesterday. What that guy says something. There's a fruit in America that nobody knows about. Like the best fruit, the popo or pom pom.
Pow. Yeah.
Pow.
Yeah, I know about it.
Of course you do.
Oh my god, I almost spit out this coffee. She's like, I knew about it before it was cool. How do you know about a pow pow?
I'm pretty sure that's the fruit that's in, like, when you play Kingdom Hearts for the first time, they talk about it.
It's in the game I'm playing. Now that you say that, in Cozy Grove, one of the trees. That's right. I think in this show that it's actually like, yeah.
Yeah, it's shaped like a star.
Yep.
It's crazy.
I guess they're real. Like,
Yeah, like, I didn't know it was real until you brought it up. I'm like, oh, I guess it's real fruit, but I do know about it.
Yeah.
the guy. They had a chef on the show we were listening to.
What was his name? Jose
something, but he's from Spain.
Andres.
It
was a really good interview, and he was talking about how it's one of the best fruits, and it's like native to America, and a lot of people don't know about it, and it's really good for you. Yeah.
I mean, like, every person who plays Kingdom Hearts knows about it. And I think Kingdom Hearts is a pretty popular game, so I thought a lot of people would know about it.
But I bet it's the same thing where they're like, "That's real."
Oh yeah, it looks like so cartoonish
Yeah,
like a star.
yeah.
So, like,
And maybe
you would think it's not real.
Yeah. Okay, so anyway, they go to this beautiful hackberry tree, and they have a violinist there who has the same name. It's interesting because later when they get his real name, they're surprised that it is Eugene, but it's like Eugene in Korean, Yujin. Instead of Eugene, right, who Eugene, was it the same King? I think. Is apparently a famous violinist. So anyway, they end up cramming all this information about this case. Like, it's very complicated on both fronts. And while they're cramming for looking through the information, Soo-young confronts Woo about what's going on between her and Junho. She's like, do you not know, or are you pretending not to know that he likes you? And this is where she admits that it's not easy for someone to like a person like her. And that's when she yells, stop being so weak-minded.
Yeah, I was going to say, is this that scene?
Yeah.
She yells at her and it is.
She's like, what do you mean you're hard to like? She got so offended by that. So when she goes to Gurami for advice, she's like, well, do you like him? And she goes, I don't know. And she goes, does your heart beat when you touch him? And she goes, I don't know. And she goes, so you don't know. Does your heart beat when you're in his... She goes, what you have to do is you have to touch him. That's what she says. and see how fast your heart is beating. And the boss is like, what's wrong with you? That's a crime. You just can't go with the people and start touching them. So she's like, okay, fine, ask him. So then you know it's going to happen at this point in your life.
Very direct.
Yes. So they learned that what we now know is her mother, Sumi, is the head lawyer for the development company that is building this road.
Which is also like she's the CEO of like the biggest law firm.
Well, she resigned because she's up for a
Some
Minister
election.
of Justice position, right? So in court, she does this like, what you call it, Minecraft presentation.
It doesn't look like Minecraft.
Yeah,
Just
Roblox. It's Roblox.
Yeah.
Come on.
To show the judges why the other proposals, the alternatives to the road can't work.
Because it was all like crazy taxi.
It really was. It was so extra for no reason.
They had their hands up in the air.
No speed limit.
Yeah. And Wu is so impressed by this that she goes home and she starts looking up information on Sumi, which her father sees, and he panics.
Why are you looking at her?
Yeah. And I mean, if it wasn't clear, it's just clearer and clearer that this is her mom, right?
Yep.
Choi confronts Jun Ho in the break room at work and tells him, kind of out of pocket, I think, if you don't, basically, if you don't have good and long-term intentions, don't string her along.
He was just getting his coffee when his business.
Yeah. She was like, don't hurt my friend. But it makes sense because of what Wu had just said to her. She was like, yeah, I get it. At first, it was really interesting listening to the whales and the dolphins. So she goes, you learn stuff that, you would have to watch a documentary otherwise to know. But by the time you get to the narwhals and the bottleneck dolphins and
she still remembers all that
yes,
information.
yes. She's like, this shit that I just can't unknow now. And then Kwon tells Choi about, because I missed this. Once the father sees Wu looking into the mother, he confronts the Han.
The other CEO.
Yes, and he's like, I know what you did. I know you're using her. And I just want to let you know, I'm going to let you do it this one time. Because nobody was giving her a chance. Despite all her... Yeah. And so chances don't come to, women like her, he said. So I was just like, this is so... And she was like, what? I was like, girl, he done pulled your card already. Just stop. She felt like shit, and she should have. So Kwon and Wu see the dad leaving, and then Kwon pieces together that they know each other. So he thinks Wu only got the job through connections. Right. And this is what he tells. This iPad, did it just die? This is what he tells.
Technically, she did get through connections as well.
Right. But
She's so mean about it.
Yeah. But I don't, for some reason, my iPad just died, so that's scary.
And see if the battery sign flashes.
Maybe it did. What was I going to say? Oh, yeah, so it's skipping ahead because, like I said, my iPad died, and so now I don't have my notes. I like that she basically is like, yeah, but you know what? It's not right that she didn't get a call back because she did have those accomplishments like you were talking about, her grades and the almost perfect score in the bar exam, basically. So, and then she's like, do you think, and you think about it, because we talked about this, both the CEOs, their fathers started the law firms they work for.
Yeah. I
So it's like,
don't know how her dad is close with both of them. When he was
Why do you keep saying that?
He was the son of a poor farmer. He said it himself, and suddenly he's got a girlfriend who's rich and a best friend who's also rich. And it's just like, how? I guess he's just so like...
He gave it all up to be home with his daughter.
mean, I think also it's law school, so I think like situations like that is where...
I'm not sure I understand.
Oh my god, I'm sorry, Siri. Like, what the fuck? Like, what is happening? I think my iPad just died. That's terrible.
It's weird. It's like it's off, but Siri just activated.
Yeah, I don't get it. And nothing's working. I'm gonna cry. But law school, you would think, is like the one, like an equalizer, right? Because somebody who's poor could possibly get into law school because of really good grades and scholarship, let's say, and loans. While the people like, you know, if your father already started a law firm, it's probably just a given that you're going to go and you're going to get in. But once you're in, you're kind of equals. If that makes sense. So you just happen to be. Yeah, it is. But I see what you're saying, that he was kind of close to yeah. Also skipping ahead, like look, now it's like, it was like 73% charge. I don't know what the hell is going on. That was very scary. It's back now. Knowing what we know about what he gave up to have the baby, to keep the baby. And I like that, like, it wasn't about her. Like, it wasn't like, I want to keep the baby to have a tie to you. It was like, I will give you up, that's fine, just give me the baby. It's like he just really wanted his baby. He never really said, like, I guess rare, but...
Yeah, rare in men.
Yeah. Very, very.
You just get a girl pregnant all of a sudden, you know, so you're like, oh.
And I wonder, like...
I mean, it was obvious that she didn't want the baby.
Yeah.
So it was like, either you both give it up, or one of you guys... Like,
but, okay,
he just
but
couldn't
here's
see the baby being adopted, or...
Okay, but here's... You think that's it? But it's just interesting to me that they never explicitly said. Like, he never explicitly said. Like, right. It's not like he said, I'm against abortion. It's not like he said,
I just think it comes from both of their almost their backgrounds. Like, he's just poor...
He just had more sympathy.
Right. He had his parents, like, where you could see, okay, she's rich, her father's a lawyer and all that stuff, where the family dynamics were probably completely different. She probably never saw her parents.
Right, okay, but what I'm saying is, like, it's weird that they never said one way or another, like, what his... Because the time to say it is when you're trying to plead with her. Right? He never says why. It's just, please don't. And then you might think it's like, so we can be together. He's like, no, you can go do whatever the fuck you want.
I'll never see you again.
Right, I will... Right, and I like that later he regrets that, because... You know, he made her life unnecessarily harder by not, you know, with all the things that come with making a salary that the lawyer would make versus what he makes running that, you know. And then, you know, he says, like, maybe then he'd have had connections that it wouldn't have mattered. He could have just started his own firm and hired his own genius daughter to, you know. So at least he realizes that. Okay, so we kind of skipped ahead when I had that iPad problem, but let's go back. Huh?
Is there a way to back up all of the notes onto your...
It is.
Oh, okay.
And actually, the other day, because we would have issues with it loading, remember I have to wait, so I put all my school stuff in my Dropbox and I deleted it off of here just to free up. So, so when Kwon tells Choi his theory about Woo getting in because of connections, and she basically accuses him of picking on her because she's weak, and he explodes and he's like, she's not weak, she's first in everything. When are you going to see that we're weak compared to her?
Yeah, like, at this point he doesn't even It has nothing to do with her autism.
Right. He's just, she is good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
She got it through connection.
Right.
That's really good.
Yeah. And this episode ends with them, with Woo asking Junho if she can touch him because she wants to know if she likes him. And he's like, I mean, he went from like, humming, what are you talking about, to like, oh, what you mean you need to touch me? You mean you don't like me any other time? That hurts, baby. Why you hurt me like that? Like, he turned into a fucking...
Like the guy on You.
Yes. He got like a creep real bad. And especially because like it ends with him like backing her up against the sofa.
Like, and then it cuts, so you don't know what the fuck happened.
Yes. Okay, so episode 8, part 2. Oh no, I'm sorry. It ends with, that's not how it ends. It ends with her confronting her dad about whether or not it was a connection. Like, did she get in through? Because what he said to her.
That's right. And then
like,
she leaves.
With her.
She
Right.
leaves.
So she leaves, and so the next episode, we find out that she slept over at Gurami's house, who serves her special Gurami kimbap.
Is this it?
Yes.
Already?
Yes. Yeah. Which is strangely good, she said.
Her eye mask and his little anime eyes.
Yes. And she was like, this kimbap, there's no boiled burdock, which is what I think they had at the restaurant, Donnie, in the bowl. And she goes, no, you're going to eat it the way I make it.
She want to go in there and make it herself.
She's like, okay. But she said it was strangely good.
She liked it. Mm-hmm. Looks like there's egg in it.
Yeah. So when she gets to work, the other thing that happened that I didn't, that motherfucker, I was so shook I didn't write it down. Fucking Kwon goes to an internet cafe.
Y'all dressed up in a hoodie and a cap in disguise.
Looking like he was an extracurricular doing some shit he wasn't supposed to be doing. And I love how in Korea they always go to that internet cafe.
Because you can't be tracked.
She's like, you ain't gonna bring this back to my apartment.
Even though they got CCTV everywhere, they could probably narrow it down.
But that's why he's like looking like the Unabomber. So by the time, he posts on like the company's like community bulletin board or some shit that somebody, it was like anonymous, but it's clear that it's her because she's the only one that was hired after their kind of enrollment period where they were, hiring from that pool. So everyone's staring at her at work.
She doesn't notice until
no. Like Soo-yeon brings it up and she's like, oh, okay. And I like this because in the hallway, Soo-yeon is like very, very clear so that other people can hear her.
Yeah.
Like everybody, like it's not right. Like, so what? Everybody knows that she should have got hired anyway. And then it doesn't, it helps what she's saying in that she's there and she's amazing. Mm-hmm. Which is why he's so shook.
She asked her friend asked her because I just came on, if, why she left and why she left the house and all that stuff. And she said, Wu says, I'm an adult, I'm gonna move out and get my own place. And her friend's like, can you afford that? I'm like, she's a lawyer. why couldn't she afford it?
That's true. And so having seen that message, Han goes into the meeting that they're having. They're discussing the whole, because they're not doing well, right? Because Sumi did that whole Minecraft presentation. Yep. And she tells them, let's try a little less romance, because they talk about how they went out and saw the place and thought it was charming and decided to take the case. So when Wu suggests maybe they request an on-site verification for the judges, so maybe they'll be wooed by that. Young-suk, the boss, he brings it up to Han, and she's like, let's be a little bit less romantic and more political. Call a reporter and get the public on our side, right? So they go out for the on-site verification, and it's miserable.
It's raining. No one's outside.
It's terrible.
They show up with their mismatched umbrellas.
Well, there's nobody outside.
The umbrellas is the worst part to me.
And then they go to the same residence they did last time, but they're all different.
Yeah. He's like, don't be calling me by my nickname.
You find out they've already signed contracts.
Yeah.
Don't approach me in front of the big wigs.
Yes. Don't talk to me, you're poor. And so, like, it's just, like he says, not going well. It was a nice touch, though. We joked about it, but when the Hanbada lawyers got out of their cars, they had just, like, their own regular umbrellas, like their own personal umbrellas. And when the Taesan lawyers arrived, they all came out with these
umbrellas.
So cool. They were, like, red on the top, but black underneath, and they had the company logo. And he's like, don't we have umbrellas? And Juno was like, oh, that's right. And he goes through the trunk of the car, and they have nice blue ones. But they make it a point to show that one of the judges, his umbrella has, like, a dolphin on it, which who, of course, notices because,
She has dolphins and whales.
So this part was really fucked up because when they decide, like, no more introductions because it just wasn't going well, like, let's go up to the hackberry tree. And the judge falls in the same spot that she did, and she's like, oh, you got to be careful. I prepared because...
She's wearing sneakers.
Right, because and she's trying to be helpful, but he's like, are you boasting? And I was like, shut up, you fragile man.
Her boss like, be quiet.
Yeah, he does tell shut up. Whoa, whoa, calm down. So when they get to the tree, it's just it's raining, and they offer the judge the cup of, I forget what the beverage is.
It's tea.
But I forget what it's called. Yeah. And he's like, why would I want to drink this when it's already, but like, it has raindrops. Shikik, that's what it's called. Yeah, I think that's the right. Yeah, it's just so gross, and it's just not going well. So the judge decides, you know what? We're going to talk to everybody. We're going to pull all of the residents, and whoever gets the majority signatures, whatever side, that's what we're going to go for. So I guess, like, the rain clears up, and there's, like, this rush for signatures, and we learned that Taesan already had, like, a bunch of interns already there, ready with contracts, ready to go door to door.
Well, it was just like the three of them.
And they had to, like, do it themselves until their part-timers arrived. And they were just getting to the point where when Kwon gets to the door at the same time as another guy, the old man answers the door and he goes, which one of y'all is offering the money?
Yeah.
Because it is. One side is saying, stay where you are.
The other one's like, here's some money.
Here's some money and leave. So there's a nice moment between Woo and her mom under the hackberry tree, and she tells her, you know, because there's a scene where they talk to each other in the bathroom after the Minecraft scene. Yeah. And she wants to shake her hand, and Woo's hand's all wet, so she does like a 2-finger handshake. But she's like, you know, your name, like, it's familiar. But then this time when she sees under the tree, she's like, first she has Woo's bag, right? Because Woo went back to the tree because she left her bag there. Mm-hmm. Yeah. And her mom has it. She goes, oh yeah, I was going to take it down with me. But anyway, she's like, now I remember where I know your name from. You wrote that opinion on the case with the brothers. With, no, not the wedding.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, the very first case.
Yeah. So she basically gives her a card and was like, you know,
come see me for a job.
Yep. And Kwon sees all of this and confronts her.
And I think this is where one scene where you pause and you're like, do you think she knows?
Yeah.
That's her mother.
Yeah. So because of what he said to her, she goes home and tells her dad, I'm going to move out. I need to be independent because...
Isn't this also the scene where she, like, threatens to hit him because her friend...
Yes.
Told her to next time you see him.
Yes.
Hit him, smack him upside the head.
Punch him in the stomach, yes.
And she, like, goes to do it.
Yes, and she tells him. But, yeah, and because he makes her feel bad and she feels like she's not good enough there, right, at Hanbada, because it was given to her, she tells her dad, I'm going to move out. And I'm going to
go
go work for the other because, you know, that's not given to me. She wants me because she's right. And that's when he tells her that that's her mom. Right. And she falls.
Go up the stairs.
Yes.
And I was just like, whoa.
And I forgot that happened. So when she fell, I was like, oh shit, she done fell down them stairs.
K-dramas really just throw curveballs.
Yes.
Like,
yes.
Suddenly someone would be having a good time. They're hit by a car.
You're going to have a random episode where somebody's in the hospital. And you're just like, why are we here? Every K-drama, it happens. To the point now where every time we're watching a K-drama and somebody starts to cross the street, we're like, are they going to get by?
Yeah, every time. It's like
we did it like so many times with Eat They Walk Class. Somebody going to get hit by. We're just expecting the worst.
And then it happens when you least expect it.
It did happen, yes.
They're not on the road at all.
So, okay, I have here... Okay, so she's in the hospital, and this is where we get the backstory of the father making the sacrifice, right?
He tells the whole story.
And there's one part where she's about to... He says something... It's coming up soon, but he says something, and she's like gonna respond to it, but he keeps talking. And it just killed me, because I wanted to know what she was gonna say, because if I remember, I thought it was something like against him, like, you probably hate me, or so... So I was just really curious what she was going to say about that, because I want to know how she feels about this major thing she just found out. But he just kept going and going. Yeah. And then by the time it was done, she had the whale moment or the dolphin moment. So I was like, oh. Which, I mean, I guess is how you keep the episode going without revealing her feelings. Oh, but yeah, we also learned here that she knew her mother wasn't dead because her grandmother got drunk. Your mom is not dead. She abandoned you and ran away. Look at him cussing out his dead mother in his head. And she carried that with her all this time. Mm-hmm. That's really fucked up.
It's just... Oh, yeah, because I was going to say... it just bothers me that she never even, like, brought up her mother before now. But I remember that scene where she's like, if I was born in Wales, maybe my mother wouldn't have
Yeah. And that's not something she would have said, she could have said to her dad, because, he'd have been like, what you mean?
I told her mom was died in a car crash. She was leaving.
Okay, so, she has this idea... And it's about the tree, right? Because they had told them at one point that they had tried to get the tree
recognized as like a
monument. Right, so that it can't be a historical monument, so it can't be destroyed.
This is like, I was really expecting somebody to tie themselves to that tree and protest at some point in this episode. Because I've seen that before. People tie themselves to buildings or trees.
That's true.
That's white people. But
it's usually for animals.
But this tree is like right in the middle of the highway that's supposed to come through this town.
Yeah. This scene, because we have the episode playing in the background muted. The scene where he's explaining the offer to like keep the baby and not bother her. She has a red umbrella, and I thought that was interesting because the company umbrellas are red and black. Yeah. Okay, but anyway, so she gets this idea in the hospital and tells her dad, "Give me my phone and get the fuck out," because this is client attorney privilege shit going on here. And she calls her boss at like 3 a.m.
When he was sleeping and like the camera pans over, shows him in bed.
Mm-hmm.
I thought it was gonna pan over and show like a wife in bed or something. I'm like, oh, he's married, but it never did. And I was like, oh, I guess he's not.
Yeah, I guess he's not. I guess he's just lonely. Okay, so I have here, I like you, Junho, but I don't remember. Does she tell him?
Yes. That's because he asked her about the heart rate thing again. Or they started talking about the heart rate thing again, and she said that her heart was racing.
Oh, that's right.
And she was then I guess I like you.
Yes, that's right.
Is that like the last we see of that in this
I think
episode?
so.
I don't remember how like.
I don't think it's the rest is like the case and the stuff with her mom.
Yeah.
So
wait till next episode to see the awkwardness.
So they go to talk to the violinist, Park Eugene, to see like what happened with when he tried to get the tree designated, and he just took off.
He tries to casually walk out of first.
That's right. It's this scene where they're talking about it,
Yeah.
right? And then she notices him running off, right? And this scene goes on for so long, and it's funny because they don't know why.
They keep asking, why are you
They're
running?
like, wait, why are you running? And I like by the time. Go ahead.
We didn't talk about how we think this is the guy from Inspector Who.
I know, and I feel like it's not. I'm gonna feel awkward because
It
it looks a lot like him. Like, you know what? We need to put that episode on so Daddy can
Yeah,
see.
we never did that.
Yeah, so just keep this guy's face in your head. But what was? Oh, the fact that Wu, like, she takes the elevator instead of the stairs, but she still stops to do the count thing, and then as she's the last one to show up, so like. First, the guy who tackles him is like, "Why are you running?" And then Juho is like, "Why are you running?" And then by the time Wu gets there, she's like, "Why are you running from us?" She's so confused. She's so
He's like,
upset.
stop following me. And he's like, okay, but why are you running?
And so it turns out like he never asked, right? Like he didn't.
Yeah.
Yeah, he just.
He never even tried to get it designated.
But somebody had. I think when he explains it, I thought it was somebody else was basically gave him another deal or something, so he never asked.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I don't remember.
Yeah, I don't remember the reason why.
She's like, that's what I'm saying. Why did you?
But the other key thing here was that he's using that umbrella with the dolphin,
Yes.
and she notices it,
Right.
and she asks him what it's from.
And so it turns out like there's some sort of like potential conflict because.
I'm sorry.
Huh?
It looks so much like the guy from Ku. I wouldn't be so surprised if it's not him.
But it turns out that he is, I'm trying to think of the way to put this. One of the things that proposed that's going to be built when they do this new highway is like a subdivision of like condos or something. And people who are interested in buying into those condos would visit, like, and do tours, and they'd get those umbrellas
Yes.
as like a gift.
Right.
And the judge had one because he had gone on one of those tours. So they were saying, like, it's a conflict of interest. Like, you can't rule on this because you have a vested interest in this thing being passed. And that's, like, the last I remember.
And even the
But
judge
then-
was like, I don't... So did you guys believe the judge? Like, because he was saying that it was almost like the umbrella was given to him.
Yeah, he was like, I don't know where I got that umbrella. But the point is, it doesn't matter.
Right. Because
Yeah.
they couldn't prove... He couldn't prove it.
Right. And they eventually do get the tree designated,
Right.
which is then what stops it completely.
Right.
Right. So, Wu goes to visit Sunmi at Taesan, and she thinks she's there to be interviewed.
Right?
Or she thinks she's there that Wu is coming to be interviewed, so she has the head of HR.
HR's like, you don't want me?
No, she's like, can I talk to her alone and her only? And she tells her who she is and who her dad is. And this woman, you pointed out how when she tells her, the camera continues to like tilt.
Yeah, I like the tilt because it's like
her whole
jarring effect.
Her whole world just shifted. She was like, what?
Yeah, and she got... Like,
And then
her
right when she
eyes
was
got all
getting
watery.
back into the, like, after, like, the more Wu spoke and she was getting to, like, the present day crux of the matter, yes, and she joined the conversation fully, the camera just slowly went straight, it was pretty cool. But she tells her, you didn't even recognize me, like, how can I work with and they don't even show, like, I wondered if they were going to show something like when they dropped off the baby to him. Mm-hmm. And they never even showed if she was in the car.
Yeah.
They made it seem like she could be, but it didn't matter because, they took off. Yeah. Yeah.
It keeps going back and forth.
She's just, her whole world's being rocked. So she asked her if she like hates her or resents her, and she was just like,
It's nice to meet you.
Yeah, it's nice to meet you.
She really answered the question.
No. And they did have a flashback too, I think in that first episode of them like at Parents' Day or like a sports day at something at school.
Oh yeah, she's looking at him like,
why don't I have a mom?
I wonder if her not answering the question is just because she herself doesn't know.
Yeah. It kind of felt like, that's what it felt like to me. That it was just more like...
Because like, she didn't even know if she had feelings for a guy. So
right. Yeah. Yeah. This woman acted her ass off with this stricken face. Like, holy shit. This girl just came in. And she has a little brother.
Yes.
Yeah. That they mentioned.
I said, she has a younger brother, and you're like, how do you know he's younger? Because she was born.
I know. I was being an asshole when I said that. So that's it. You guys still in?
Yes.
You excited?
Yeah.
Do you remember, no, I was going to say before we had theories that was her mom, but no, it wasn't. We thought that the CEO of the company that we worked at was her aunt, so she would be her mom's sister.
Yeah.
We had that brief theory. And I'm like, I guess it's not true now.
Yeah.
Unless, like, they have the same dad and he had two law firms and he just gave one to each daughter.
Then I wouldn't care if he went off and had other kids. If everybody gets a law firm, fuck it.
But
Thanks,
I mean,
Dad.
it's just the fact that all three, like the father and these two CEOs, like they all went to school together. And then now they're running the top firms and all this stuff. Is just.
Did you not say that?
Yeah, you did.
You want to make sure you're paying attention.
I was really going to be like, is he saying the same thing I said?
That's what he does. That's what he does. So yeah, Donnie has a lot of work to do this week, so I am super bummed because I don't know how that's going to affect the shows next week. But there is so many good shows though coming up to look forward to that Donnie's not on though the next coming weeks, right? You and I are picking back up Spy Family when it returns. We're also doing Ranking of Kings with John. We're going to be finishing up Itaewon class.
I'm just remembering how Ranking of Kings is. I'm like, am I prepared to go back to that?
John knows nothing. I don't even say anything. I'm just like, oh, there's going to be a lot of feelings. What else? Oh, and me and Sarah with House of the Dragon. And Donnie and I have already recorded for Severance. So a lot of good stuff coming up. As always, thank you guys for subscribing. And we will be back next week with the next 2 episodes of I almost said Inspector Wu. Oh my God. Extraordinary Attorney Wu.
So cool.
Good night.